All right, more of the Amazon project. Looks like a bit more wall maybe being taken down. Going on to the second little stretch there. And draining this so as to lay some concrete for, I guess, the first stages of however they're going to base the base. This is really cool. This is real cool. This is gonna be awesome when this is done. This is gonna be amazing. So bring some maybe have like kids playing someplace that they could be like, ooh, something slightly natural that doesn't have like scum all over it or graffiti or any homeless people. And also it gives people an ability, what's the key thing about this is that it's going to provide the capacity for there to be shade trees, because this is a great field, but as you can see, there's just absolutely no shade trees. And this is like, I mean, Eugene, Oregon is really one of the most beautiful urban layouts because of the shade trees. Every morning you hear birds. Every single morning. If you don't hear birds, you kind of know something funny maybe is going on. Like it's going to be weird weather or something is going to, like you're going to get like an ice storm or something, like it's, because I mean, there's just so many trees. I don't really know how that affects the insurance here though, but I've never really asked about that. Yeah. Anyway, so a lot of fascinating, oh, check it out. Yeah, look at that. Little yellow birdies. Yeah, that's so great. They're probably like, actually trying to intimidate me or something like that. They're like cursing, saying all kinds of awful things, but just looking so adorable. Look at they're like, yeah, we're going to let you just walk off, buddy. Don't make us posse up, homie. And all birds are angry as hell. All birds are angry as hell. Like and it's like that when it comes down to like the birds we like the most, it's like the turkeys are like geniuses. It's like you don't see us fucking around ever, do you? And then all of a sudden there's a bunch of turkeys there, and then we're gone. Yeah, we know what we're doing. That's right. They all flap their feathers. That's right. Turkey power. We got a bunker. We got a turkey bunker. Was it a drift? A drift of turkeys, I believe. Okay, I gotta be more serious because this is serious business. YouTube is, of course, very serious business. The internet, you gotta take it very seriously all the time. It's very serious business. Gotta be alpha, dude. That's how you gotta be on the internet. You can't be silly. So anyway, okay. So the most interesting story that I'm seeing, and I mentioned it on another little thing I'm going to be posting, is so there's two little weird things that there's no way out of them. Like they're absolutely now documented enough that it's a lot of Democrats really need to actually like pay some attention to this story in the long run. Okay, so Act Blue, the article that I was seeing was two campaign issues that had to do with financing and this, that. One is there is no Kamala for President campaign, I think until of only so many hours ago or something like that, right? Or maybe not even yet. Well, none of the money pledged to Joe Biden for president is legally hers. It's not her money. I mean, this is very clear. You have to you have to come up with a form that says that I'm running for candidacy, and in this party, blah, blah, blah. Does the party actually, say that, you're a member in good standing? all that business. There's probably a number of things along those lines that you have to confirm. But fundamentally, just the key thing is, no, the money was given to the Joe Biden for president candidacy because they wanted Joe Biden as the president. Now, a bunch of people are going to act like that doesn't mean anything. And it's going to be very important for a lot of Democrats to watch, and for us to watch on the right, who is going to argue suddenly, oh, yeah, well, no, but you see, it doesn't matter because Joe Biden, he stood for all the same things and he was going to say all the same things and this and that. And it's like, wait, okay, whoa. So Kamala Harris just simply is going to be taking commands from Joe Biden from behind. Okay, that's one way this doesn't work. The other way that doesn't work is, wait, so a person who did not earn the executive and the executive think the same, even though they clearly didn't run on with the same stances on a number of issues. There's all these different ways it's not going to work. Whereas people try to be like, no, it's totally all the same. It's like, the money you gave the blah, 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 and it's not. But at some point, there's going to be big donors who are going to be like, no, I gave that money to Joe Biden for president. And it's going to happen. Like, that's totally going to happen. And yeah, that day is coming. And it's going to be very interesting when and if, I'm thinking it's an if, just because of how this has been going for the Democrats. It hasn't been working out. It's so good. So, because also, if I were them, I would count on a big donor suing and being like, no, I gave this money to Joe Biden for president. I don't think I'm counting on somebody suing. The next thing was, I didn't realize, so the blue enclaves in the United States are looking at fundamentally hundreds of billions of dollars, just the cities. So this isn't even the counties. So this isn't like Multnomah County. This would be like just Portland alone. And then, of course, it would fall to the county next. Is that the unoccupied properties, that this is starting to become an issue of, there's going to be these banks are going to be holding on to a lot of unpaid debts on these properties. But the big thing is cities bet on the taxes, and they bet on also the revenues that these banks would make. And that's where it affects then a county. Because if it turns out there's like because we haven't seen the total collapse yet. Somehow it's still levitating in midair. Like this super slow motion, like just seeing it fall, and everyone's like, and I don't know, like if somebody's like just throwing money at it, keeping it in the air, they're juggling it with money. Sick ass move. It would be like you unlock like an anime financier banker, it's like the top hat guy from Monopoly. And he keeps throwing Monopoly pieces, houses, and money. and that's how he's juggling. He's juggling the blue enclave office building, empty office building graveyard market. And so there's people who I heard something from, and it was one of those moments where I'm like, no. Who's telling you this? How do they vote? What was the key moment you realized this person was like kind of a gonk to lib? Oh, well, the gold standard, like in how then we went to the petrodollar. You you don't understand. Okay. So how is world events must be a mystery. World events must be a total mystery to this person over the past 20 years. And so then I'm sitting there thinking, no, if you're a Gong Talib who what you think everything is a fight over religion because you don't understand the petrodollar. Like they just don't know this, that there was this deal made. They don't understand the nature of the deal made with the Saudis. They don't know how that kind of grew further. Um, and so I was thinking about that. I was like, no, yeah, you would have no explanation for, like, I mean, any of the Middle East wars, really. You definitely, people like the history of things like the Ba'ath Party and all that, and Saddam Hussein, like, how everybody ended up thinking that the idea of Islamofascism or whatever it was, there was this silly idea that George W. Bush was, just kind of came up with, only to find out, for many, 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 many people to find out, no, really, that's a totally real thing. And this is such a difficult subject to research that you have to be in very specific circles that speak very specific language groups to understand how this happened. And then up until the time of the internet, there was no way of putting together the sources. Too many of these sources just had to be republished. I mean, just like Sabotendorf. I mean, like, yeah, who would have ever thought of something like that being so key to so many events? And so, the issue now with Act Blue, the way that they have fiddle-faddled with, and so the whole thing of them committing some form of fraud that O'Keefe showed, the thing is, I'm thinking this story has popped back up on Zero Hedge because Stephen Miller is on the case. That's what I'm thinking. Now the big deal is going to be as the discovery happens. Now, also, the other part of this is, will the Securities and Exchange Commission the Federal Elections Commission, I was thinking wrong, EC, the Federal Elections Commission, will they actually look into this? Which they kind of have to. There's kind of no way around it. But it would be very interesting if they were just kind of like, no, it's cool. It would be kind of fascinating if that happens. I don't think it will. I think that this will result. I think that the legal end of this has been sewn up. I'm thinking that the reason why we're hearing this story is because Stephen Miller and his bunch are about to, they're about to engage the low Earth orbit ion cannon, and they're going to absolutely take out whatever this operation is going on in Act Blue and try to get as much discovery as possible, because at some point, you see, they know they can't go after them for all the Black Lives Matter money, but I'm thinking that if they are weak, if Act Blue is weak, their own side will devour them. Their own side will go for their pockets in some way, shape, or form, because it's so much money. It's too much money. They gotta get it. They gotta have it. There's a lot of people who won't want the discovery end of this. They're going to try to do everything they can to make it, no, don't cover this story. That's why this story needs to get some legs. It needs to get some serious legs, because that's how you get them. That's how we get them every time, is they think that story's not going to go anywhere. And then the beautiful part is they always say there's nothing to it. That's number one. This doesn't even exist. That's number two. And then, well, no, really, they're taking these events or statements out of context. That's number three. And then the story quiets down because then they know, they know they've messed up. They know people are going to get discovered. Somebody's going to get sued, something like that. And so what ends up happening from there, as we all have seen, is stage 4 and 5, that some kind of legal action or some kind of serious, break in the story comes and you start to find out all the dirty secrets. Well, I think we're about to see that with Act Blue and other channels of donation. I'm thinking that how much they need to move that money around is going to show, and that the big deal is that they really don't want anybody knowing who gave whom what money. I'm thinking that's the key to it all. For us, there's going to be, who's not the usual suspect. But for people, because remember, a bunch of, a bunch of, what's her face's money got pledged to, I don't know if it was for Kamala or if it was for Biden. I forget, Nikki Haley. Her people, were like, oh yeah, our money is going to go toward Kamala or something like that. And the beautiful part still, again, Democrats are totally blowing smoke up their own people's asses. And their Democrats love smoke ass. They love the smoke show. That's what they call it, I guess. in their world, that's the smoke show. Having smoke blown up their ass. So yeah. There was that. What was the other? It was another small story. It was about California. California. Okay. Oh, no. But let me keep going. That real estate thing. So what I was looking at was like Forbes on YouTube. And this was from 5 months ago, where they're counting up how much debt exists in these empty buildings, and they're so we now know that there really isn't a way of getting people back into those offices, and the technology, because of the demand, has suddenly caught up. Azure was already in development. The AI stuff was already in development. All that algorithm stuff. This is why the whole bot farm from Russia is bullshit. No, it was bot farms that the Democrats were running. That's people don't really get no. If you fucked with Democrats a lot, there were these weird accounts that would, some of them would just talk weird, but they would supposedly have these kind of snappy comebacks, but they weren't really snappy. They were kind of lame, actually, and you were kind of like, who's this lame ass, and you would find yourself wasting some time on this account, and you're like, oh well, fuck it. And so finally, you kind of started to recognize there was kind of a pattern to it. It's probably somebody who owns a bunch of accounts, and this is what they do. They're hired part-time to do it. But then people started to find out, once I saw Azure pop up, because I was looking up Microsoft Genomics, and Azure is a key part of AI is what's required to do genetic analysis because of the way that we use the symbol system of fundamental letters for the different not nucleotides. Oh my God. Deoxyribonucleic acid. Nucleotides. No, that's still not right. Proteins? Oh my gosh. I must be getting too much sun. I need water. I can't believe this is happening. Adenine. Oh my God. No. I would have to look. Oh my God, I'd have to look it up. I can't believe it. I'm having such a senior moment right now. It was ADGC. Yeah, ADGC. And yeah, okay. I could still think of all the transfer RNA, messenger RNA, and this is how I'm having the hardest time remembering the fundamental names of the four key components of the human genome. But anyway, aside, oh, don't get old, boys. No, I just need to exercise more. Is really what it is. And exercise smarter. I've been letting my body get a little dumb, and there's things now that I'm like, no, my reflexes are getting a little dumb. Now I should have been able to catch that on the way down. Every once in a while I'll catch something on the way down, but every so often, I mean, just things will fall in a way that I'm like, I should have been able to catch that before it hit the ground. And so anyway, in looking up Azure and the AI tools that now have replaced so many people in the workforce, in the professional workforce, and that there's going to be a whole new way of doing this. And then also, I don't think corporate America was in any way, shape, or form prepared for what they were going to see with all of these wokies taking over marketing and, like, telling, the public, if you don't like it, go take a piss. And that, these companies now are openly panicking. Because they're like, why did you make ads like this? And then we're like, what do you mean? We all had meetings about it. Everybody here knows that we were going to be doing this. Who didn't understand this? And so now all these companies are like, oh shit, people hate this. People hate that we're insisting on all this really weird sexual stuff in John Deere and in beer and in things like that. And so they don't like weirdos. We don't get it. Why don't they like unpleasant forms of sex from unattractive weirdos? Why would you like beautiful women and alcohol? Why are they so stereotypical in their way that is so Homo sapien? Why aren't they more like us lizard people and vegetable men? So, getting drunk with trannies, that's what millennials and Gen Z are all about, bro. That's masculinity for the millennials and Gen Z. Getting real drunk with trannies. Oh yeah. So anyway, how these cities are going to they're going to have to do something that would mean, well, being that it's a cost just to start the business, and it is very costly to do business there, well, you would have to make it worth their while. So you would have to do something that absolutely made moving professionals into these various cities that have that are just extremely dangerous, and every day have more and more bizarre stories of lethality, danger, and crime. And you would have to, and why would they want to pay these taxes? Why would they want to deal with all the regulations? Why is that supposed to be something that they should welcome? And that is the mentality that comes with just showing up someplace that the party was already made by white men 200 years ago. San Francisco was already there when a lot of these, people who think they made it into what it is arrived. And, and it's just one of these things of like, no. Just because you had a lot of great times and you had boon times, the downturn was bound to happen. You really should always be preparing for that about every 5 years, because it's going to take a year and a year in and a year out. That makes 7. That's the classical biblical thing of feast and famine cycles. But people don't think like that, and also, unfortunately, they didn't take seriously. You're an earthquake country. You have to be prepared for things to get bad. and get very bad very quickly. That's another thing that showed people who had moved to that area no longer really took seriously how devastating earthquakes can be. So it's going to be a very kind of good luck with that thing with blue enclaves, and especially now that the other thing is that they're beholden to unions now. The unions got them, they're into them in the old, street way of thinking about it. They're into them now. The teachers' unions are going to get payouts from city funds. There's a lot of these pensions that these are going to be funds that have to come from the various cities, and then from there, like I pointed out, stretches out to the counties, and then you're going to see certain states and because there's going to be opposition at every time at the state level to have the whole state beholden to the pension system of a school district that is, that its finances were really they weren't run by a state level bureaucracy. So it's a disaster that looks like it's about 1 trillion or a few hundred billion in totem. That was 5 months ago. So we'll see. Yeah, and if Forbes is talking about this, but that this isn't something I'm seeing a lot of people discuss, like in similar. It's not something that's cycled to the top in my feed. It's slow. This was 5 months ago. I look stuff like this up all the time. So some class is telling each other. There's a financier class that is completely aware of all this, and they're informing each other. No, really, like these bets have to be terrible in the cities. But they're telling each other somewhat quietly. This is similar to what we saw with the quote-unquote the real Russian propaganda. It was just Russians on YouTube saying what they shouldn't talk about out loud much louder than they should. But all right, talk to you later.